All right, guys, I'm here for another podcast right now. My name is Dave Gold, and this is the Evolve podcast, where I talk to industry leaders in the coaching field. And today I've got an amazing guest on. His name's Dave Henzel. We just connected, the other week, and I thought it would be great to bring him on here so you can hear about what he does. So yeah, David, thank you so much for jumping on, and maybe you can introduce yourself and let the viewers know a little bit about who you are.
Sure. Thank you, David. Thank you for having me on the show. Um, Little background about myself. I've always been an entrepreneur. I'm originally from Germany. I was a misfit in school and had like a really hard time figuring out what I want to do with my life. And then a friend of mine pushed me into the entrepreneurial realm. He said like, "Hey man, you're good with computers. Let's start a business together." And this was finally like my thing. I could just do what I want to do. And found entrepreneurship, and it's worked out really well for me. So I've been in the startup space for over 20 years, originally in Germany, and there was like no real startup scene. So my dream was always to move to the West Coast, move to Los Angeles and have a business there. Um, and so I sold my e-commerce business, which I had in Germany in 2006, which gave me the money to get my investor visa and move to the United States. And this is where I started MaxCDN, a content delivery network, which we sold 4 years ago. We had a really good exit, and I wanted to have more impact. This was like also part of the reason why we sold the business. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer 6 years ago. Knock on wood, she's doing great today, but this was like a big wake-up moment for me, kind of like, reevaluating my life.
Wow.
Kind of imagine myself laying on my deathbed, looking back at my life, thinking, did I really do what I was supposed to do? Did I have the impact I want to have? And then I realized that I really want to do something that has a big impact in people's lives. And I thought about this a lot and what I can do. And originally, I started an online course called Managing Happiness, where my wife and I figured out that if you apply business principles to family life, that everything becomes much easier. Kind of like having personal mission statements, family core values, regular meetings, like a Trello board where we share to-dos and a shared calendar, like all the stuff we do in the business. We just implement into our home life, and this worked out really well. And I want to share this with other entrepreneurs. And yeah, put together this online course, and then after the sale, we moved from Los Angeles. We moved to the south of Turkey, and I thought I'd just chill here and focus on this online course. But it turned out that this was too much of a family therapy thing. I'm a business guy. I'm not a family therapist. So I kind of lost interest in this a little bit, and I went back into business. I started a business, and I bought a few businesses and invested in a few. And now I have a portfolio of businesses, a lot of productized services. The latest one is Speak on Podcasts, where we help people to get on other podcasts. Task Truck, we do lead research for Cold Outreach. Shortlist, which is an SEO link building agency. L2V Plus, which is a modern BPO where we have live chat agents, support agents, and kind of like a modern business process outsourcing business. We also have a podcast called howwesolve.com. So I have like a lot going on, and I thought, let's take this course that I originally had and apply it to the people that are leading my businesses, so that they figure out their personal mission, vision, core values, and also the habits that they need to be on their A game. And because I thought if they're, have their personal life in order, then they will also have their, the business will run better as a result of this. And I thought, how can I get this to people's heads? And like one frustration I had with the online course, Managing Happiness, was that only 7% of the people who bought the course completed the course, and like, I didn't want to make, I like making money with it, but this was not my sole goal. If I just want to make money, I'd say, okay, they gave me the money, they paid, whatever. But so yeah, the completion rate was only 7%, and this was really frustrating me. So I thought there has to be a better way. And group coaching was the solution. So I started a few cohorts with people who are running my businesses, and I went from, it worked really well with them. And then I offered this course to other people, and we went from a 7% completion rate to a 94% completion rate. And it's like, we saw really drastic results, people.
And that's what is now UpCoach.
No. So this was we first I did this group coaching with a few tools that I cobbled together, and then I asked the CTO of one of my businesses to build me some software around this to make my life easier doing the group coaching. And he built something really phenomenal. And I showed this to a friend of mine, Todd Herman, who's a very famous, popular, well-known coach. He wrote The Alter Ego Effect, amazing book, I can highly recommend. And I just showed it to him saying, hey man, I'm not a coach, I built this thing, can you give me some feedback? And he's like, holy cow, that's amazing, I want to invest, I want to be part of this. So he basically became a business partner, and we took the tech that we built in Managing Happiness and started a new business called UpCoach.com, where we basically offer this group coaching platform, or coaching and group coaching platform for other coaches. Okay. So compressed, that's my entrepreneurial story in a nutshell.
Before we get into UpCoach, what you're doing right now, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about managing happiness. Is that something that you still offer, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was checking out managing happiness, something that really stood out to me was the accountability aspect, that a lot of time people, they just neglect that they need to bring on someone to help them be accountable, whether that's a friend or a coach or a mentor. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think it really means to be accountable? And do you think innately people can hold themselves to be accountable? Or do you think that they need some kind of friend or mentor to help them keep their word?
I mean, you can, of course, hold yourself accountable, but you let yourself down much easier than you let somebody else down. And it's like something that's deeply, we're social animals, so we don't want to look bad in front of somebody else. We don't want to break our word. And if we say, okay, I'm committing to doing X, Y, Z, and then you're not doing it, and you make this promise in front of others, and others can see if you're doing it or not. This is something that we facilitate with UpCoach. Then you're way more likely to do it. It's like positive peer pressure, and it's just, it just really, really works. This accountability, and having an accountability buddy is just works a lot. If you, let's say, I have a personal trainer who comes to my house to work out with him.
Yeah.
And I make appointments with them, and I pay the guy, and it's like he just showed up, and then I'm accountable. I'll work out with him. Like on other days when I'm not feeling like working out, I'll probably say like, I'm gonna skip working out today, but he's holding me accountable, and I'm gonna do it.
Do you think that there are certain things that we're ashamed to ask for help when it comes to accountability?
I mean, I guess, yeah, it's not a natural thing to just like, call our body like, hey, I want to lose weight. Can you like make sure I'm checking with like how much I'm weighing all the time, or with your spouse, so not that easy to do these things. So having like a mastermind group with like-minded individuals, also people who respect that even, this will help tremendously to keep yourself accountable, or hold each other accountable.
Mm-hmm. And what is, maybe one tip that you would give to people in managing happiness that was really effective when it came to making them hold their own and helping you to increase the amount of people that held themselves accountable and finished the course?
So in managing happiness, we have a shared habit tracker and shared to-do lists. And so everybody sees, and also the worksheets, our canvases. Basically, everybody can see the work the others are doing in the platform. So this kind of is creating this peer pressure. And we have like our group of 6 to 10 people that are meeting on a weekly basis. But then we have within this group, we break it down to smaller groups, like 2 or 3 people. And they are then their accountability buddies, and they hold each other accountable. They meet up again once a week, which is also a nice thing for the coach, because like you provide value because you facilitate this, and people meet on their own time, and you don't have to do anything, but it provides value to them. So I think like having like smaller accountability groups within your larger group works really well.
Okay. So yeah, I've found that as well, that when I break it down into just, a smaller group that is holding me accountable, okay, then I'm able to be open with them. I'm able to share with them, the struggles and the pain points that are coming up in my life that might be, affecting me negatively when it comes to actually getting done those tasks or goals and things like that. So having that small support group can be really helpful. And I think that kind of leads us into the group coaching, because the world has kind of taken a massive shift where I think at one point we almost looked at group coaching as something that, that's not for me. I don't want to do that kind of group coaching online. And now it's come to a point where it's very mainstream. During the coronavirus, I see a lot of different groups opening up, a lot of shared Zoom calls. And then I've started to implement that into my coaching that I do for men who are looking to improve their business and their dating lives. Okay. And I've seen how valuable it is to bring all of that, energy and connection together into one circle. All right. And I can facilitate, okay, and I can lead them and I can guide them, but they're also creating this dynamic, which at times makes it even more powerful than just a one-on-one. So
absolutely. If you don't mind jumping in,
yeah.
in real quick. I love it when the group, after like 2 or 3 calls, people know each other, trust each other, and they open up more. And when somebody struggles with something, it's much better when a peer of the group gives some advice versus the coach. Like, hey, I had the same problem, I did X, Y, Z, and this worked out really well. I think this is where the magic happens, when the group kind of like, this group dynamic starts having really positive effects.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so now, as you've gotten into this, what do you think is the biggest thing that maybe coaches are reluctant to jump into group coaching? Okay. Or what's something maybe that a coach or a student says that might be a fear for them to jump into group coaching?
It's like, I guess, handling a crowd of people, it's like it's a different thing. Like if somebody's like not happy with what you're saying and you have to justify yourself, or blah, kind of these fears that somebody will just challenge you in a negative way and like the whole dynamic will break, etc.
In front of everyone, and then
In
you've
front
got
of
to,
everybody.
yeah, that could be almost like an embarrassing thing. If you're
Yes.
called on to share, all right, and you've got all these other people on these screens and corners, and you're supposed to be opening up, or maybe you do open up, and then it's a lot for you to handle. Okay. People aren't used to that. This opening up in front of different people and letting that vulnerability shed through a screen, through your phone, or through a little camera. And I see that at times amongst my students is they need a little push, okay, to really open up and to really spread that value to the other people in the group that could really relate to them.
This is like I'm very open with people. I think that's like I'm a very good networker. I make like very deep connections with people, even just on the flight. Somebody sitting next to me, I often make like really good connections with people, because I hate small talk. I just like go really deep. I talk about very personal stories. I mentioned my wife going through cancer, and having like this kind of life-changing things happen to me. And yeah, I think if you cut the small talk and just go deep, everything becomes much easier. You really connect with people. Vulnerability is sexy. You should just like jump over the shadow and like get rid of this fear, and yeah, just open up. There's only good things can happen from this, in my experience.
I love that line. Vulnerability is sexy. And I think more people need to realize that vulnerability doesn't need to be scary, okay? And that embracing that risk, okay? So many people are risk averse, right? But if you get to that point where you really put yourself out there on the line, okay, one of two things could happen. Either you could have a breakthrough and you can get to a new level, okay, of a relationship or business or things like that, or you can fail. And sometimes when you fail, but you were completely vulnerable or taking that risk, that lesson or the outcome was ended up being more positive or even more powerful than if you succeeded. So at times I feel
fail
like
stands for first attempt at learning, right? So you can't just like
first attempt at learning.
Yeah, first attempt at learning, fail. FAIL.
Okay.
So like from every failure, you just kind of grow and learn. And this is how we learn. When a toddler starts walking, falls down, gets back up, falls down, gets always a little better, a little better, a little better. This is just how humans learn. So it's totally cool to fail, and this like does not hurt your self-worth or whatever. It's just like part of the process of growth.
Have you had any failures in your business life?
Of course.
Can you talk about one of them?
I started projects that did not pan out.
Okay.
I made misinvestments, or I left businesses early that I had like one business while I was working at Max again with a friend of mine. And then when my daughter was born, it was too much. And I kind of thought, okay, I can't handle this, having two businesses and a kid. So I was just like, I'm out, you roll it. And this is like now a very massive, giant business. So I lost like a lot of money on this. I used to be very introverted. I'm a recovering introvert. I used to have a really hard time being on conference calls. I was like super uncomfortable. Don't talk about public speaking or being on podcasts. I would have preferred to shoot myself in the face versus doing this, So, or just like talking to people I didn't know. It was really tough for me, and I felt how much this was holding me back in business and in life. So I decided to go to Toastmasters. For those of you who don't know what Toastmasters is, it's a club where you learn public speaking. I did 2 Toastmasters meetings a week, and I did 2 networking events per week. And I just, exposure therapy. I just like put myself out there until I was at the point that it did not bother me anymore. But it really clicked when my yoga teacher said, every decision in life, you either make it out of love or out of fear. If you make them out of love, you're on the right path. If you make them out of fear, you're on the wrong path. Once I always knew this deep down inside, but I couldn't articulate this. But now that she said this and I, kind of grasped this, everything became much easier. For example, giving us public speaking, right? Or giving this podcasting here. Before I would have thought, full of fear, like, oh, do people think I have a weird German accent? Do people think I look weird? Do people think what I'm saying is stupid? Do people think like blah, along this, right? And if I'm in this state of fear, then I can't give a presentation. And I suck, I freeze. But if I switch to acting out of love, and what I say here can help people to do their business better, to do their life better, whatever can be of value to others, then it becomes super easy. Same with public speaking, like being on stage, like what I'm saying here can help these people, becomes easy. Same with talking to somebody, since you're in the dating space, talking to somebody that's, an attractive person of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever you're into. If you're having a hard time talking to them, you just make it about yourself. Oh, do you think she'll reject me? Do you think I'm not attractive? Whatever, blah, blah. Just like, don't make it about you, make it about the other person. Hey, there's
so true. I was just going to bring that up, the dating niche, and how we've got so many influences in the dating niche that are pushing this aura of fear. Okay. Oh, but what if she doesn't text back, or what if she doesn't like me? So then you need to manipulate your words or actions in order to get a certain, outcome. And then you've got these new age coaches I see, okay, that I'm really attracted to, that are helping me to grow in my personal development as well, okay, that want to approach the dating niche from love. And it can be really hard for a lot of people to hear that, okay, even in business, right? Approach that business deal from love, from providing value, not from just making another sale, not from just getting another client, okay, all right, or another, girl that you slept with, all right? So when you can make that shift in your mind, and that in and of itself is a scary shift to make. It's not an easy one to make. It's one that people are very
awesome
reluctant.
Just fucking do it. It's so worth it. Everything becomes much easier. Like talking to this other person, you think like, okay, there's this individual. How can I provide value to this person? That's all I'm thinking about. And then I ask a few questions, see what they're doing, blah, blah. And then once there's an area where I have expertise or where I have resources where I can help this person, I share. That's like as simple as that. Or when I'm in sales, I want to sell you something. I used to hate sales with a passion. But because I always thought like, oh, salesmen like used car salesmen and blah. I never liked it, but now with acting out of love, I have this product and I know this is a really good product and I know this product will make your life easier, your business easier, whatever. Then I can even be pushing, say like, hey man, freaking buy this shit. It's gonna be really good for you. Just do it, because I'm doing this out of love. And on the other hand, the receiving person also will feel this, where this is coming from. When I'm acting out of love, like, hey man, come on, do yourself a favor, get this. Whereas like, I'm just doing this because I have to pay my mortgage, I have to reach my numbers. So completely shifts the dynamic and the vibe that you have.
So did you also used to be scared of the word love at one point?
No, I mean, Germans are very emotion-free people, so, but
That's so true.
I don't think that I'd say I was ever scared of the word love, but I was definitely intimidated and full of fear and
Mhm.
insecure, etc. And just kind of like, I overcome this by just like acting out of love and seeing like how can I be of value, and just like don't make it about myself, make it about the other person.
Mhm.
And then it's easy.
I see there are a lot of guys out there, clients that I work with, that are either trying to, elevate their dating life, they're struggling in that area, or they're trying to, find their voice and their personal brand. But a lot of times they get attached to that introverted state, okay, that passive energy, all right? And it sounds like, I was definitely there, all right? And it took me a while to feel enough. But was there a click in your mind where you decided, like, okay, I'm enough, I need to make this change, and there's no going back, I'm going to burn the boats?
Mm, I mean, the definitely aha moment was like when my yoga teacher said the love and fear thing. This was like kind of when it really made click in my mind. Um, One thing, you used the word have to or must. I must do this, and you also said like trying to do something. I'm very cautious with the words that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying is the most inefficient way not to do something. And when you try something, you act out of fear because you think you can't do it. Oh, I'm trying to quit smoking. Oh, I'm trying to lose weight. Like, whereas like, I don't know, effing lose weight. I don't know, freaking stop smoking. Like, this is like a mindset shift, which is, from an NLP standpoint, new linguistic programming. You program yourself. Same with like, I have to do this. I must do this. Screw that. I have to do my homework. No, I want to do my homework so I get better at this topic because I'm interested in this topic. I'm interested in growing. Like, oh, I try to pick your mom up from the airport. It doesn't work. Just like either do it or don't do it. I think it's like also a very important thing. And if you want to change something in your behavior, that you really commit to doing something and not just like, yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'll try to. Well,
Interesting. Interesting. So, what's your goal right now with UpCoach and with the direction of this business? And how's it been going for you so far?
it's going great. We have been developing this for almost a year now, and we have a very solid product. It's just not to the point of polish that I like it. So I think like in a month and a half from now, we will open up the door for sale to sell to the public. Right now, we just have a family and friends and a few beta customers that are using it.
Mm-hmm.
And my overall mission is to start the group coaching revolution and empowering thousands of coaches that can help millions of people to achieve their desired outcome. That's kind of my personal mission. So I'm excited about that.
That's beautiful. All right. Well, I've got one question for you today, one more before we go, which is based off of the UpCoach. Um, there are aspects of UpCoach that you implement, like habits and goals and goal setting and discipline and things like this. So, what do you think are the top habits that driven entrepreneurs should implement into their lives today if they want to really level up?
Cool question. So I think it's really important to have a very good morning routine because kind
Mm-hmm.
of how you set up your morning will determine how your day will go. So for me, it's like doing my. I get up very early. I get up like at 5 o'clock or 5:30, and then I do my morning yoga and meditation, and I plan the next day. I basically go through like what do I really want to accomplish this day and kind of prioritize and like that's the most important thing that I want to do. And I'm also defining the frog, which is, do you know the story of like eating the frog?
No, tell me about it.
So the idea is that the task that you don't want to do is the task that you have to do first, or that you want to do first. Because if you, like, yeah, you have to do your homework and you start cleaning up your room, like because you kind of procrastinate. And by just knocking out this unpleasant thing in the morning, this gives you a lot of energy versus having this always in the back of your mind, kind of slowing you down. So I think a lot of successful people are the people that are willing to do the unpleasant stuff without hesitation. So I think that's a really key thing. So meditation, and then sports, I think, is also super crucial that you work out on a regular basis, like get your, put some stress on your body. We put a lot of stress on our minds, but we need to run and exercise to get rid of cortisol and stress hormones and blah. So I think it's a really important thing to do this on a regular basis, like 3-4 times a week minimum. I think it's also a really important one. So I'd say these are the key habits. I have like a long list of habits that I'm going through every day, but I think these are really the essential ones. Plan your day, do something for your mind, like yoga, meditation, do something for your body, and things like don't neglect the people that are really important in your life. Kind of like understand what the roles you have. My roles, like I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a business partner, etc., and kind of make sure that you touch upon all these responsibilities throughout the day.
Okay. And then with, all this being said, maybe for some people it can feel like a lot, right? They start to level up in their life and they start to get to a point where they've got, a nice relationship, or their business is starting to grow, their coaching business. And then they've got all these habits and, goals that they want to achieve. How do you balance it with so many, different businesses that you're running, and a family, and all these other things that you want to accomplish during the day?
I do time blocking, so I just have like dedicated, like my morning routine is blocked, my focus time is blocked, and my family time is blocked. So that I'm actually making sure that I'm doing stuff that I want to do. Then I'm a big organizational development nerd, so I like to have to set up business properly with mission values, and just like having good business processes in place, which makes it a lot easier. And then I work with amazing people that I have GMs or business partners that are running the businesses. So this is how I'm getting away with it.
This has been a great interview. Just learning, I guess, what it takes to be really successful. And I think you guys can all see this is a shining example of someone who's really got his life organized, but he's also doing it from love and not from fear. And there's so much to take away from this interview. So I'm sure, we'd love to talk to you again and have you back. But until then, how can the listeners, find you on social media?
Yeah, just my name, David Henzel. I'm on Facebook. Pretty much all of them. I just uninstalled TikTok, was such a time suck. But you can find me on all social networks or the websites that we mentioned before. If you want to check out the course, managinghappiness.com. We're doing like every 2 or 3 weeks, we're starting a new course. Check out UpCoach.com, or you can also email me at dh@davidhenzel.com.
Beautiful. Well, guys, this has been another episode on the Evolve podcast with Dave Henzel. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.